St. Louis. Welcome once again to What Retirement Means to You with Jerry Means, financial advisor and founder of the Means Financial Group. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Jerry, wow, man, you're looking sharp today. How you doing, buddy?
I feel sharp today, Spike. You look great yourself. How you feeling?
Thank you very much. I'm just trying to match your energy, buddy. and speaking of matching energy, one of the things that Jerry does every single week is help people with retirement planning strategies. But something you've said you've noticed over the last couple of weeks, you've been starting to ask people, why did they call the phone number? Or more importantly, why hadn't they? What was stopping them? And what is some of the emotional reaction you're finding from people that is making them halt before they pick up the phone?
I think it's just the anxiety of the unknown or the fear of the unknown. People are worried that, they're going to come into a financial advisor's office and they're going to become overwhelmed. They're going to hear that they've been doing things wrong, they haven't been doing enough, or they're going to kind of have their advisor that they currently had get slammed, and people are tired of the negativity and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest part is just the anxiety and the fear of the unknown. They're sitting there thinking, I know I need help, I know I have questions, but do I really want to go sit in an advisor's office and go through that process? People just like you that are listening right now. I've had people come into the office, and I try to keep it very low key. I mean, who you see on the TV show is who you're going to see when you come into the office. I like to sit down, have a cup of coffee or a Coke Zero or whatever it is, and really just get to know you in that first meeting, find out what your concerns are, what it is that, that's been bothering you or keeping you up at night. And we're going to address those. And then I also give some educational, things that I show people on the board. And often what I will hear from people is, Jerry, I've learned more in this first hour than I've learned from my advisor in the last 10 years, right? Or they'll say, I was really nervous about this, but it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. It was,
it's kind of that relief like when you go to the doctor's office.
I feel better. Well, I understand that because if I go to a doctor's office or, I go to the dentist, right? I mean, a dentist, I guess, is a little bit different, but anything like that, you're sitting in your car before you go in, your palms are sweaty. Should I even really be here? What are they going to try to sell me? I don't want people to feel like that. What we offer is no cost, no obligation. We don't charge a fee for that consultation. It's really just to get in and ask the questions that you have. Now, I can't always give them the answer, of course, in the first meeting because it takes analysis and digging in deeper. I mean, you should probably be worried if they give you an answer if an advisor gives you an answer in the first meeting, as far as your total retirement plan. Yeah. But we can talk about the different concepts and kind of go through that. But I think people just kind of put it off because they're afraid. But I often hear, I wish I would have done this sooner. Jerry, I wish I would have met you sooner. That sounds self-serving, but I think if you find the right advisor, whether it's me or someone else, but you have to start somewhere. Once you find that right advisor, you're going to wish you would have done it sooner. So don't put it off.
But I think one of the number one hurdles we've read on a survey recently, that procrastination. Most people are worried about that they have procrastinated, that they've maybe helped the kids pay for college, so they put off their own retirement planning. Or maybe they've been helping their aging parents with their costs, help the kids buy a new house, help the kids, make sure that they didn't end up out of college in debt and so forth. The procrastination, there's all different kinds of, even our own health reasons, we've procrastinated the saving. Is there anything we can do about it if we're in our late 50s, early 60s, about the procrastination to turn our retirement around?
Absolutely. It's never too late. What I tell people is retirement's a long game, right? We're not hoping back in 1935, when Social Security started, people retired at 65 and they were gone at age 67, right? They didn't have a long-term retirement plan that they had to plan for. But today they do. People are living longer, and there's lots of things that you can do. We've talked before on the show about Roth conversions, so to help on the back end of the retirement if they do have plans. There's tax benefits. You can do catch-up provisions in your 401k. You should be taking full advantage of the matching. It's free money. If your employer still offers matching, take full advantage of that. That's free money. It's hard to beat dollar for dollar, right? And some of those contribution limits have increased for 2023. So take advantage of that. Up and above that, of course, there's things that you can do, like contribute to a Roth or do Roth conversions. There's tax planning that you can do. There's estate planning issues that you can do. So it's never too late to plan for retirement.
As a fact man for financial planning, you shared with some numbers with me. I think there's a lot of folks who don't even realize what the catch-up provisions are in your own 401k. I think it's like $22,500 plus a $7,500. You can contribute up to $30,000 if
you're over
you are
50.
still working, right?
Yeah, if you're over 50, you can put 30 grand into that plan. That's 30 grand that's going to come off of your income tax to lower your income tax for this year. Now, one of the things you have to consider about that, we've talked about before, is you're deferring that taxes till down the road where we might have higher tax brackets. But it's automatic saving, right? It's a way to put the money, sock it away, comes right out of your paycheck. You don't have to think about it. So some of those things don't get in your way that do before. I mean, most people out there are good people, and they're helping everyone else first. Like you said, they're helping the kids. Maybe they're helping parents, or they're donating to charities and helping their church and things like that. A lot of people put themselves last. You know, and that's a great quality to have, but you do have to think about your retirement. When you're getting into that financial red zone, you have to realize, you know, do I have enough money in my nest egg, and what have I done, and what can I do to assure it up as I get closer?
Quick question. We're going to go to break here in about a minute or so, but if you're, let's say, 62 or 63 or 64, you've been saving in a 401k for most of your life, so our tax deferred. And now you notice, if you go into your plan, that there's a Roth 401k. What about putting that 20, 25, 30 grand into the Roth for 2 or 3 or 4 years before you retire?
I 100% recommend that at least a portion of it go into the Roth. Now, you don't get that instant gratification where you're getting that tax break for putting it in there. It's not going to reduce your annual income bill. But yeah, you're getting more money into a tax-free account for down the road. Something though that people should consider, though, on a lot of the 401ks that I've seen, when you put money into the Roth version, the match goes into the pre-taxed amount. They don't always match the Roth with Roth. So that's something that you have to consider, but you can still get that money in there and still get the free money. So for most people, yeah, it's going to be a great way to try to build that up as they're getting closer to the end of retirement.
Right. And another reason, though, that I hear that folks procrastinate is they figure, well, I can't use a financial advisor until I retire because they can't help me out. Are you able to start the on-track retirement review if somebody's still working?
Absolutely. One of the things, even if they have a 401k that's tied up with their employer, a lot of people don't know about this, but if you're over the age of 59 and a half, there's an IRS rule called the in-service rollover, and almost all plans allow it today. And the reason that they allow it is so that you can prepare for retirement. They're basically saying, okay, you're 59 and a half, you're close to retirement, you're in the financial red zone. You may want to roll that money out of your 401k into an IRA, so that instead of having 30 or 40 investment choices, you have the entire investment world. You have 16,000 mutual funds and ETFs and individual stocks and annuities and all these things that you can do to prepare for that retirement plan. It's called an in-service rollover. It doesn't penalize you. It doesn't hurt your employer. Actually, it's good for the employers to offer that. It kind of gets them off of the hook on their fiduciary duty. But yeah, you can roll that money over into an IRA, non-taxable event, still contribute to your 401k, still get the matching. You just basically start with a zero balance and you have all your money over here, which you can allocate to safer or guaranteed vehicles, or just diversify more into the market.
Today's program packed with solutions from Jerry Means. Jerry, we've got to take a very quick break. Folks, if you call the phone number you see right here, you can get your own on-track retirement review. Even if you're still working, you don't have to wait for that 1 year or 2 year before you want to retire. If you're serious about retirement, if you're wondering how, when you take Social Security, it's going to work with your investments, if you're wondering about tax-forward solutions, when are you going to take your Medicare and how are you going to do all of those elections, should you do long-term care, all of that and estate planning included are part of the On-Track Retirement Review. And it is complimentary for the viewers of the program right here at What Retirement Means to You. But you need to reach out to Jerry. Call 844-878-1293. More with Jerry Means right after this.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only. to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. By running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back to What Retirement Means to You with Jerry Means. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Every week I get to join Jerry on retirement planning solutions for you, and we understand procrastination is very common. Whether you are working and taking care of the kids or taking care of your family, we often put off our own retirement savings, and we want to find ways, and some of the things you've talked about, an in-service rollover, maybe doing a Roth conversion right now so we can pay less taxes down the road. But when it comes to healthcare choices, that's one of the things that we really can't procrastinate on. We don't get healthier as we get older. So when do you start talking to people about their long-term health?
So the earlier that you can start talking about long-term care, the better, because premiums don't buy long-term care. I mean, they pay for it, but they don't buy it. Your health buys it. You know, you have to qualify medically. So obviously, the younger you are, the easier it is to qualify for. The older you get, the more chances are you've had some type of ailments. But there's different types of long-term care. I got to tell you a little story. When I started 20 plus years ago, I was a big believer in long-term care, as I am now, just do it a little bit different. But there was traditional long-term care plans where you pay a premium, you have a daily or annual amount that's covered if you need nursing home care, and you pay an annual premium for that. And you knew that those premiums could increase. But back then, it was still kind of a pioneered product. We hadn't seen the longevity that we're seeing today. And the company that I offered that through, their big pitch to me was, we haven't raised our rates in 30 years. Well, I liked that because I could go out, I could tell a client, you pay this is your benefits. If you qualify, this is a great vehicle for you to have to insure the rest of your wealth, right? You insure your house, you insure your car, you insure your life. You know, long-term care is insuring your wealth. That's the big thing people have to remember. I went out and I was one of their top long-term care producers for that year. Guess what they did to me the next year?
Raised rates?
30% rate increase. So I had,
and that's what you pitched everybody. Say this company hasn't raised rates in 30 years.
So it was pitched to me. Of course, I relayed that to my clients. So I had egg on my face. I wasn't happy about it. I swore off long-term care insurance. Now, I did go back out to all of those clients, face them one-on-one, said, listen, there's 3 things that we can do about this. You're not going to like any of them, so we just have to pick which one is going to make the situation the best. You can stop paying the premiums, and you lose all of the money that you've paid in over the years, and you're not insured anymore. Or we can reduce your benefits and pay the same amount that you were paying before. That doesn't sound like a great deal.
Pay the same for less.
Pay the same for less. Or you just go ahead and pay the increase. Most people elected to pay the increase, but I felt like I had the rug pulled out from underneath me. So I got out of offering that. I just would send them to someone else and say, I don't want to deal with that anymore. And for a long time I didn't. But some new products evolved, came out, and there's some great tools now that I really like where I don't have to worry about having that egg on my face.
Okay, do you mind explaining a bit then? Because I'm curious about it as well. I've got family members who have lived long. I'm curious what you're using.
Sure, so there's something called asset-based long-term care where you can pay either a single premium up front, or you can do a 10 pay, or pay, let's say you put $100,000 in for a husband and wife. Now I know that sounds like a lot of money, but there's 3 benefits there, 3 things that can happen. That $100,000, they never pay a premium ever again. That $100,000 buys a death benefit. So if the husband and wife never use the long-term care, their death benefit is usually at least double what they put into it, tax-free to their heirs. So that's a great benefit. It's not a use it or lose it proposition because no one wants to use it, right? Or it has, a lot of them have a return of premium rider, which means you could be in that for 2, 3, 4 years, decide, you know what, I don't want this, or maybe a better product comes out and you're still in good health. You can cash it out and get all of your premiums back. Or up to maybe 85% of those premiums, take them out and put them in a different vehicle or put it in your pocket and say, I don't need this vehicle anymore. Or the third thing is you need the benefits and you're going to be glad you had the plan. You still have to qualify health-wise, but you can structure it where it's a single premium, or you can break that up and pay it over a 10-year period, maybe $10,000 a year for 10 years. They can never increase the rates on you. They can never come back and ask for more premium.
That was where I was going with it. I'm like, okay,
but the
thing is, you're saying they can't increase the rates on this one?
Correct. So it's in the contract. This is the minimum amount that you can pay.
And the long-term care can be used for both the husband and wife. Normally, when I hear things like this, there's usually either a reduction amount. Is it the same amount for both?
You can buy a joint policy and you can add a rider on there for a little bit additional premium that makes it a lifetime rider. So instead of only having coverage for 5 years, if you're in a long-term facility for something like dementia, we just seen what happened with Bruce Willis, right? He just got diagnosed with a form of dementia. So someone like that could be in a nursing home for 10, 15 years.
Yeah, because he's
the body's healthy.
Somewhere
it's just
60s. Yeah, he could be alive for a while.
This pays for lifetime. So as long as they're in there. So it's a new way to be able to tackle that versus, now I have people come in all the time, Jerry, my long-term care is tripled, doubled, not that I put them in, but just that they have out there. Sometimes you have to pay those increases. Sometimes it makes sense to move those into a new type of contract to better your situation.
Yeah.
Life insurance, there's life insurance contracts to where you can put the money into a life insurance policy. You have a large death benefit. So obviously if you die, it's going to pay your heirs a tax-free benefit. But if you need long-term care or home health care while you're living, you can accelerate the death benefits. So get the death benefits while you're living and pay that towards the nursing care. So again, life insurance, it's fixed premium. You can set them up to where they can't come back and ask for an increase.
I think these are conversations that people procrastinate on, as that's one of the things we're talking about in today's program, because they're tough conversations to have. But the way I hear you talk about it reasonably, that this is a conversation you could have in the office, 15, 20 minutes, look at some different numbers, and it's really more about, it sounds like, protecting the wealth that you have. Because what are some of the average costs of even a shared room in a long-term care facility here in St. Louis?
I mean, depends on where you go, right? I mean, and how nice of a facility that you want to be in. It can be anywhere from $50,000, $60,000 a year to $100,000 a year. So it just depends, right? I mean, the level of the facility depends on the amount of premium or the amount of care that you can afford. I had a client that she came in years and years ago, and she put about $500,000 into a fixed indexed annuity. So one of the annuities that can only go up, can't go down. You get market gains, no market losses. But if she turns income on from that annuity, lifetime income, if you need home health care, long-term care, basically you can't do two of this, what they call the 6 activities of daily living, they will double the income benefit. So she couldn't qualify when I put her into the annuity, but the annuities doesn't have any health qualifications because it's an investment or savings product. I put her in there, the money grew, it did really well. She never needed the income, but I got a call from her son. Her son called me up, said, hey, I know mom's been with you a long time. She's in a nursing facility. We now have to figure out how to pay for it. I said, well, I got great news. I'm sorry to hear about your mom, but because of a plan that we did for her, that we did looking forward, we can trigger the income right now that she's never taken out. And because she can't do 2 of those 6 things, the next month we can apply for the doubler and they will double the income. That paid for her long-term care stay. That along with her Social Security, her son didn't have to pay out of pocket. They didn't have to worry about mom running out of income because it was a lifetime income stream.
Oh, wow.
And it took care of her until she passed away. Unfortunately, she passed away about 4 years later, but it did take care of her in there.
4 years in a long-term care facility, it could have eaten away the rest of her nest egg and definitely not covered it by
And if it would have been longer, though, she would have been covered.
Right.
She could have been there 10, 15 years. She would have been okay.
So this is just one of the aspects you cover. Do you mind telling everybody here exactly what the On-Track Retirement Review, complimentary to the viewers, is all about?
Yeah, so I always want to offer to the next 10 callers our On-Track Retirement Review. Long-term care is one of the things that we'll discuss. We'll try to find out if you have a plan, if you do have a plan, if that's the right plan for you. If you don't have a plan, we'll try to find out what might fit into your portfolio to help protect you, your family, and your assets. We're also going to look at tax planning. We're going to look at a written income plan. And we're going to look at taxes. Is there anything that we can do to help you in the future with taxes? So give us a call, 844-878-1293. Again, next 10 callers is complimentary, no obligation.
More of what retirement means to you with Jerry Means when we get back right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to What Retirement Means to You with Jerry Means. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Procrastination, well, done it a little bit. I remember my college days, didn't always study as far out in advance as I should have. But when it comes to retirement planning, it can really be a problem. But let's talk a little bit about the procrastinating with Social Security, estate planning. Like you said, some folks might say, look, I took care of my kids when they were younger. I'm not going to worry about that. But there are some elements of the choices of estate planning that can make a difference even while we're alive. You've talked to a lot of folks recently who've said, I'm taking Social Security as soon as possible because I'm afraid it's not going to be there down the road. Does this affect their estate planning?
Absolutely. There's reasons to take Social Security early, and there's reasons not to take it early. So we have to evaluate, everyone's situation is different. But one pitfall that you have to think about is if we look at a husband and a wife, for example, and they're drawing Social Security, both of them. One of them passes away, the living spouse gets the higher of the two Social Security. So they lose a paycheck and they get the higher of the two. Well, if you both draw early, and maybe that breadwinner that's supported them most of the time that has that big Social Security check decides to draw early and gets a reduced amount, I mean, that's part of estate planning, right? Because you're kind of leaving your spouse on the ropes. So that's something to consider.
I appreciate you saying that. I think there's a lot of folks out there who think estate planning is only if you have $10 million, $20 million, $50 million. But estate planning to you, Jerry, sounds like if you're leaving money to anyone in any capacity, we need to talk about estate planning.
It can be a spouse, it can be a charity, it can be your loved ones. You have to make sure things are beneficiaried correctly, of course. You want to make sure that there's money there for them if they're going to depend on that. And I'll tell you, even lately, more than I've seen, I don't know what the change is. Maybe people are more comfortable talking about it. But I've had more clients come in and tell me that they have special needs kids that they need to set up, or special needs children that they need to set up to leave their assets to. I mean, it seems like maybe 2 or 3 times a week I have that subject come up. And of course, I'm not an attorney, right? So I have an attorney that I work with that handles those kind of things. We talk, in broad view about it. And then I help direct them to the attorney, and then I work with the attorney on the planning. But I'm seeing that more often than not. I don't know if the people are just thinking about it more or what it is, but But yeah, I think that...
Well, because they know that their accumulation advisor, they're not going to set up a special needs trust. The lawyer needs to know what to put into the trust. They need a retirement financial advisor who does this all the time. It's part of what you set up is setting up legacy for folks with what they already have accumulated.
Yeah, and what's bad is people are asking their advisors for this, and the advisors are telling them, we don't do that. I hear that every day, day in, day out. To me, that's not a good answer. You know, if you're in that preservation distribution phase of life, your advisor should be addressing those issues. And even if they're not an attorney, they should be working with an attorney to help you get that set up. That's part of that time frame in your life that you need that help.
Yeah.
And you know, you need someone to lean on and have a sounding board. You know.
Right, and so the on-track review, like we say, you're not an attorney, you're not a CPA, but you work with people all around your influence that you can call and say, hey, I've got a client, I've got someone who needs help with the special needs trust. I want to make sure we're doing the Roth conversion. I'm taking care of their investments. I want to make sure that we place this into a trust. I want to make sure that we take as much taxes off the table so down the road. So you sort of put together the entire situation along with the investment management.
Yeah, even though I don't do those things, they're in my client's best interest. And as an advisor that's held to a fiduciary standard, we're supposed to do that. And if your advisor is not held to a fiduciary standard, if you're not sure, you should be asking that question. But those are all things that we talk about, all the things that we've mentioned today on the show. So what I'm going to offer to the next 10 callers is our on-track retirement review. This is designed for someone who's near retirement. Maybe you're in the financial red zone, which is 5 years before retirement, or already retired and you want to make sure that you're staying on track to stay retired. If you're going to work part-time, you want it to be optional, right? You want it to be work optional, not mandatory. So we want to help people that are serious about retirement, that have saved assets, and that have these questions. We want to help you address those. It's no cost, no obligation. Just give us a call, 844-878-1293, and we'll set you up with that on-track review. And it just starts with coming into the office, meeting me one-on-one, and getting to know one another. You also can click on the QR code on the screen. You answer a few questions. My assistant, Jen, will call you, and she'll set up a time either for you to come into the office or do a 15-minute phone call with me to kind of see if we're a good match and answer some of the questions for you over the phone.
And then one of the final goals of it as we wrap up today's program is you actually put together a written financial plan to make sure that folks stay on their own right track of retirement.
That's right. We're going to help you figure out which plans you should take income from first, and we're going to put that in writing. We want to make sure that you understand. We're not just saying, hey, trust us, we'll take care of it. I mean, you can trust us, we'll take care of it, but we're going to explain it to you, make sure that you also understand what's going on.
Jerry, thank you so much. Thank you for watching What Retirement Means to You. Call for your own on-track retirement review, 844-878-1293. We'll be back again with Jerry Means and What Retirement Means to You once again next week.